Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling. I'm coming live again from my apartment here in the overlooking the Caribbean Ocean. And if you can hear me, hit the number one button. I'm trying to make a special broadcast here because, uh, well, I think I think I want to share this view. Um, of course, we're going to have some technical difficulties tonight. All right, I want y'all to know that now. So I'm going to fade in. I'm going to come back in, and that's going to be the trade-off. You guys get to hear this beautiful ocean behind me as you work out, as you drive home, whatever, and you get an opportunity to hear me talk to you about these really important subjects that I think will help benefit you all in your life. Now, my name is Dennis Sperling. My occupation is a trial attorney. I enjoy doing what I do. I've been at it for over 2 decades now. Uh, Complex civil litigation is what I do. And it was a hard fight to get to where I am now. But I've learned many lessons over the years, many lessons about life, many lessons about business. And what I do on this channel is I try to bequeath this wisdom on you young men. And again, this channel is designed or created originally for Black men, but the lessons that I'm teaching are universal to all men. So that being the case, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about something that uh, young men are prone to do, and that is compete with people that you don't need to compete with. Instead of competing with folks, some people you need to learn from them. Okay, and that's why the thumbnail says what it says. Don't hate, imitate. What do I mean by that? Well, oftentimes the people that you want to compete with are in a better position than you. They're in a better position than you. They're higher up. They're somebody who is bigger, stronger, faster, richer, whatever. That's your competition. But but I think oftentimes we we begin we start off. All right, we back. We back. Look, sometimes we, as I All right, I'm back, you guys. I know the screen froze for a minute, but let's get back. I'll deal with it. We're gonna have some issues tonight, but hit the number one if you hear me. Let me know you guys can hear me by hitting the number one button. So basically, what I'm saying is, oftentimes we compete with people that we should be learning from, and so instead of hating on them, how about imitating? Recognize that it's not that you hate them; you want to surpass them, you want to be like them. And so, Mr. Kevin Samuels always talks about high value men. But even among high value men, there's a VIP section. Some of these men that you see, clearly you can't compare the guy who makes $100,000 a year with Bill Gates. You can't do that. That's just impossible. So there are levels to this. And so what I want you guys to recognize is that um, you, you know, you you want to be the best among the best. So if you're going to be a high value man, then you want to be at that elite level. You want to be the VIP type guy. Okay. So here's the thing you have to get over. The first thing you have to understand is this: we are taught to hate the rich, especially in the United States. But here's the crazy thing: you hate the rich, but you love a rags to riches story. Make that make sense. You hate the rich, but you love the rags to riches story. How can that be? So, what does that mean? That means that at some point, if you're successful and you become wealthy, you're going to have a lot of people that don't like you, and you'll be able to understand where they're coming from because that's what we're taught. We're taught to hate the rich, but again, we love a rags to riches story, which in itself creates a schism in your mind. And oftentimes, what that does is it prevents you from being successful because you're constantly fighting against yourself. Now, here's something else. Um, we oftentimes imitate the lowest among us, the least successful. Keeping it real is what we used to call it back in the 1990s. I'm keeping it real, so I'm broke. I'm keeping it real, so I'm staying in the hood. I'm keeping it real, this, that, and the other. And really, that's just something that's sold to you. But instead, what we should be doing is we should be imitating those who are more successful than us. Now, the thing you also want to understand is that the community is small. The community of uber, super successful people is small. So you only are going to get one shot to be in that, especially when it comes to African American circles and other minority circles, I'm sure. Once you get a reputation for being someone that no one wants to work with, then you're probably going to get pushed away. The thing is, you probably are only going to get one chance to mess up. And when I say mess up, show that you don't belong in this group. What's the group? Well, you guys have heard this old state saying that says, if you hang with 9 millionaires, you'll be the 10th. That's pretty much how it is. You get around people, you learn to imitate what they do, how they invest, how they live. And then at some point, you think like them, you operate like them, and then you'll be successful like them. Now, again, this works for anything. You hang around crows, you'll be eating corn. You see what I mean? If you hang around thugs, you'll be robbing banks. You hang around multimillionaires, successful people, that's what you're going to end up being. So just keep that in mind. Hit the number one button if you guys appreciate what I'm doing, you guys. I want to make sure you guys appreciate this and make sure you check in. Now, one of the smartest young men that I know and one smartest young lawyers that I know is my young associate, Jeremy. Now, he's been on here a couple of times. He was the one, he and I debated the Bill Cosby ruling that went up to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And the reason I say he's one of the smartest young men I know, young lawyers I know, is because for 5 years, he sat in my office. I didn't do any business with him. I just let him watch me make money. Didn't offer him any help, didn't offer him any advice, didn't talk to him, didn't give him any cases or anything like that. But he patiently waited. He waited and waited. He suffered. He was probably fresh out of law school. I didn't do anything for him. And then after about 5 years after I saw, what he done, then I started working with him. And since then, it's been maybe, I don't know, it's been about 12 years, I think 12 years since that time. Now, the reason I call him smart is because he's doing the same thing that I'm doing. He's imitating me like I imitate these other lawyers that I work with. But I know better. He started doing it fresh out of law school. He came in office with me, and now he's making plenty of money. He went from practicing criminal law in state court to practicing personal injury law in federal court. And so now he's being fast-tracked to the super lawyer level, where you're actually making a lot of money. Now, he's not the only young man that I've worked with, the only young lawyer that I've worked with. There was another group of lawyers when I first got to Texas, bunch of young lawyers straight out of law school. And even at that point, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was extremely good at what I did because I practiced an area of law of personal injury that most minorities are not allowed to get in. On top of that, I did it at a high level, volume-wise. The firm that I worked for, a small little firm in New Orleans, they would send me the worst of the worst cases because I was the new guy. But I managed to work them out. So when I got to Texas, most of the cases in Texas that I get are pretty bad. Not that I have bad clients, not that I have bad accidents or bad facts, but the fact that it's a very conservative state and, nobody's giving away anything to anybody. So you really got to fight for it. That being the case, I've learned to master these cases. I've learned how to make a lot of money from them. So I became very good, and I was willing to share that information freely with a lot of young lawyers. Here's the problem. They began to take, instead of imitating me, they began to become jealous of my success, largely because they couldn't understand why I was able to do it and they weren't. And maybe they went to better schools, maybe they came from wealthier families. For whatever reason, they thought they would rather hate instead of imitate. And so eventually what ended up happening is they decided to go off on their own, and we didn't part ways on good terms. So that was my bridge that they could never come back down. So now, instead of having a lawyer who they worked with back 10, 15 years ago, who's now doing class action cases and on a daily basis working with $100 million cases, they can't even call me. All they can do is just watch. Whereas Jeremy, on the other hand, because he was willing to do what? Sit and imitate and learn, he's now able to work with me on these cases. You see? So what did he do that's different than them? Instead of hating on my success, thinking he's better, he imitated what I do. I see him now. 4 or 5 years ago, he started saying crazy things on Facebook and YouTube, things that I would do to garner attention. And so it's beginning to work for him. His popularity is beginning to increase and whatnot. And so I see it happening for him. You see, make sure you guys hit the #1 button too. Okay. I want you guys to make sure you hit the #1 button. So imitation instead of hating. This is going to get you a lot further with people who are already successful. If you're not, here's the thing. And I'm gonna go back to that old saying. If you hang around 9 millionaires, you'll be the 10th. You see, unfortunately, in the Black community, we have a tendency to be jealous of each other as opposed to be willing to imitate each other. If a person does ABC for you, then you'll be angry he didn't do D, E, and F, as opposed to being appreciative of what you get. I don't know what that is about us as a group of Africans. Okay, I don't know what it is about us. But for some reason, we are prone to our narcissism. For some reason, we refuse to accept the fact that sometimes some people are better than you, even if you're more educated than they are, even if you're better looking than they are. They still may get more girls than you, fellas. Ladies, even if you're a better looking woman than she is, she still may get a better quality man than you. Whether you might be taller, faster, stronger, but this guy might start in a position that you think you can handle. For whatever reason, sometimes people are just better than you, irrespective of whether you think you should be seen as better than them or not. Um, I have a state college law school education. I did go to Tulane, but before that, I had HBCU state undergrad degree. But I'm better than a lot of attorneys. I cut my words. Sometimes I speak Ebonics. Sometimes I misspell things. Uh, so there are a lot of people who have better spelling. They more articulate, have a bigger vocabulary. But for the most part, I'm more successful than they are as an attorney. Even here on YouTube, there are a lot more people on YouTube. But for some reason, you guys like me enough to come back to my page day in and day out. And at this point, I'm going to shout out to MTR, lead attorney, and Mr. Kevin Samuels. Thank you for the pointers. Even there, instead of hating, I'm imitating. I'm willing to learn from them. As opposed to hating on their success, I'm willing to learn. And so because of that, what? They said, hey, yeah, we'll teach you. You come on in. We know you've been working hard for 2 years over there with your struggle stream, but we'll give you a little help here, give you a few pointers. And so this is what I'm trying to, you see it happening before your eyes every day. You see the guy who goes to practice, and even though he might be third deep on the roster, he's playing hard every day, working with the first string wide receivers and coaches. And at some point, 2-3 years into his, college career, he's now a starter. Hell, he might even get drafted. And once he does get drafted, he gets that reputation of being somebody that's coachable, somebody that you can work with. And these are the type of people that typically succeed. That same guy, because of those character traits, whether he makes it in playing professional ball or not, this guy can end up working at some marketing firm or working at a used car lot and become a multimillionaire and end up owning the place at some point because he know how to imitate success. And a lot of you guys, instead of hating on success, you're going to require you tuck your ego and put away the narcissism and things like that. Hit the number one button. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, hit the number one button. I want to make sure you guys are here. All right. Big shout out to Urban Eagle. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Look, so I think I'm making my point. I think you guys hear what I'm saying. So the thing is, how do you get over the ego issues that you have? Well, first of all, and this is a carryover from my other conversation, recognize that it's better to be a student than a master. It's better to be the person learning. It's better to be the person learning from the master, learning from the owner, than the one who's footing the bill. Let me put it. Let me let me help you guys understand what I'm saying. So in any given month, I might spend $14,000, $15,000 litigating cases. Every time I file a lawsuit, it's depending on where it is, it's $402. $402 of money I may never get back. Then I got to pay for service. That might be another $100. So I'm already out $500 before we even get started. An average expert is probably going to run me anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000. You typically need two on each case. Here's the other thing: I may never see any of this money back. Right? Keep this in mind. A deposition is about $1,000. If you want to record it, you're going to charge it. It's going to be about 25. When I say record, I'm talking about video record. That's about $2,500. You're going to need about 3 of those, and this is for the average car accident. So on each case that I litigate, I'm probably going to spend $20,000 easy, and that's if it goes all the way through. Wouldn't you rather be the one who says, "Hey, Mr. Sperling, I need this for that. I need $25,000 to retain this expert," and you get to go through the process of learning. You get to go see how it works, and you get to learn on somebody else's dime. Again, it's better to be the master. It's better to be the student under the master than to be the student, especially when you're first learning. Okay, so recognize the benefits of not being the one who's out front. Shout out to my man Flox. I appreciate you. Man, thank you so much, man, Flox. So he said, I appreciate you, Uncle D. Blessings. Thank you so much. So the thing is, some of us are not willing to be students. Some of us are not humble enough to be willing to learn. And here's another thing. There's entitlement issue. Some of you think that just because somebody close to you has money, that you have money. That's not true. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, your best friend, your cousin, your husband, or your boyfriend. Well, I guess it's different if you're married, but bottom line is, you have got to be willing to accept the fact that they know more than you, and you should learn from them, irrespective of the fact that you think you're better than them for whatever reason. You could be smart, and I said this, and I'm going to say this again, because this is many of you guys' problem. You think, oh, I'm better than him. I'm smarter than him. I know more than him. I got better grades than him. I should be the boss. No, that's not how that works. The boss is a boss for a reason, because they know something you don't. A smart person would try to figure out what it is they know, as opposed to making an enemy out of that person. Don't hate, imitate. Okay? Imitate the successful just like you imitate the losers and the tough guys and the thugs. You don't want to get picked on in a school? What do? You walk around like the bully walks around and nobody bothers you. You want to be successful in this world? Imitate the successful people. Imitate their habits. This is what you need, because it bothers you that you have to be like somebody that you think you're better than, but you got to do it, period. And then once you figure out what then at some point you can make some adaptations to make it fit your own. When I was a young lawyer working at the law firm in New Orleans, I couldn't understand why everybody was mailing off their demand letters, which is the money, which is the letter and the medical records you send out. They would mail it off. I start faxing mine. Okay. And then after that, I start emailing them. Okay. So once I learned the whole goal, then I was able to do it faster. But I had to learn what they were doing first. I had to learn what a demand letter was, who it should be sent to, and how much I should ask for it before I start making innovations and changes to what had been proven to be a working success story. you can't you can't see yourself bowing down, which is what you call it. You can't see yourself belittling yourself. You can't see yourself taking low to somebody that you think you're better than. The truth is, let me adjust this. But the truth is, you do better learning from them than fighting with. Things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, if you appreciate this conversation, make sure you hit the number one button. Show your appreciation by hitting the number one button. My man, let me see. Valerie Kerma says, "Don't reinvent the wheel. Tweak it." Right? Exactly. Okay. Um, what I want you guys to do, man, is begin to find people that you can imitate who are successful. Find high quality, and again, let me start off. There's high value men, and then there's the VIP section that you got to. In order to be a high value man, you got to. In order to even get in the VIP section, you got to be a high value man. And you guys want to know the definition of that? Go follow Mr. Kevin Samuel's page. He has a great definition which fits. But for the most part, there's an elite level of men who have power and influence that you guys, I mean, when they make statements, the stock market shifts. You know, some guy making $200,000 a year, that's not his level. He might be a high value man, but he's not on that level. I'm talking about elite level type guys. So keep that in mind. Now, you know, again, fellas, you're going to have to learn to control those egos and that narcissism and the competitive nature that we all have is telling you what? I'm better than him, so I don't have to listen to him. I'm better than him. I can do better. You guys see it all the time. I can do, but you think you're better than the boss. But the boss has been the boss for a long time, and you've been working there 6 months, and you think you're better. And what gives you grounds to even think that? It's just silly. Right, my man Ian Simmons said Elon Musk level. Exactly. Bill Gates level. Warren Buffett level. This is the level. You know, think about that, right? Trump is gone, Barack Obama is gone, Bill Clinton is gone, Elon Musk, these guys are still there, right? They're still there. So these billionaires, right? They outrank everybody, right? Warren Buffett's still around, you know. Um, so these are the things I want you to think about. And it's not necessary that you have to be a billionaire, but in your community, there are elite level guys who are still there, you know, who are still calling shots. And you want to learn that. Let me tell you something. It's lonely at the top. A lot of these guys, right, recognizing that they can't live forever, want somebody who's worthy to come replace them. I tell you guys all the time, my young associate, Jeremy, young black brother, he went to Texas A&M with the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I'm rooting for him. I want him to come replace me when it's time. When after I make 40 or 50 million dollars at practicing doing class action cases, I want him to come up and take over my niche. I don't want somebody else who I have no contact with to come take over my territory that I occupy right now in the personal injury field in Texas, Louisiana, and those other southern states. I want my protege to take me. But he wouldn't be even in a position to be my protege had he not been willing to do what? Imitate instead of hating. See, those other lawyers that I work with, they wanted to hate. And that's why they just, you know, I do what I do to anybody else who presents themselves as an adversary. Get rid of them, right? Or disregard them, defund them, whatever. But this guy, he's willing to do what? Sit and learn. You know, I now see him more as an equal than I do a student. And this is what happens. And this is what you want. You want to recreate yourself in others, whether it be your own biological children or it be, you know, your proteges. You want to recreate, you want them to be as successful as you, because again, it's lonely at the top. I want them to do better than me. I want my proteges, I want the people who took my wisdom, and I want them to show me they're better than me in that way. By doing what? Taking what I've taught them and doing better with, look what I did. Huh? You had a hot line. I made it a hot song. right? Didn't we hear that? You made it a hot line. I made it a hot long. Mr. Sperling, I took what you said and I made a multimillionaire out of myself in 5 years. My God, you got me beat because you're 30 and it took me till I was 50 or whatever. You see, this is what I want you guys to do. And so, a lot of you say stuff like, well, we don't ever hear successful men come back and talk to us in the community. Well, I'm talking to you right now, right? I'm talking to you now. I'm here on the beach somewhere. That's the Caribbean Ocean. I'm on the fourth floor up. It feels like I'm on a cruise ship. I'm so high up and the ocean is right there. I could literally throw this pin about 5 feet that where and it'd be in the Caribbean Ocean, blue water, all that. You're not going to talk to me on a regular basis. But here I am right here on the internet for you guys to speak. You see what I'm saying? I'm right here on the internet and I'm telling you, it's lonely at the top. It's great. It's a great view. But I would love to know that there's going to be somebody who's going to come in and take my spot at the point where it's time. Hit the number one button if you find this conversation meaningful. Okay? Because here's what we get a lot of in the community, in the Black community especially. We got a lot of unsuccessful people talking about, relying on the Lord. We go to church, we hear about Jesus, and that's great. And there's a place for that. But what we don't hear is successful people telling you, you can be successful, and this is how you do it. Begin to imitate other successful people. It's just that simple. And then I don't want you to start going out trying to finance, Lamborghinis and buying Gucci clothes, and Louis Vuitton and Birkin bags. That's not the type of imitation I want. That's fake. That comes with success. Okay, and so you're putting the cart before the horse. Become successful first, and then those things will come along with that. But you got to work on the success and the habits. What do you eat? How do you sleep? What do you read? What do you fill your head with? Um, you know, what type of music do you listen to? How much do you exercise? What type of balance? What do you put first? Do you know how to prioritize when it's crunch time? You see, this is what I want you guys to understand. Do you know how to rise to the occasion? Are you who are you? These are the sort of things that you need to understand about yourself, right? And then you need to say, well, okay, well, this guy, he does this at this time. He's willing to do this. You know what? He had to decide whether he was going to pay his house note or pay for his employees' payroll. And so he paid his employees' payroll, and he learned from that. Next time, I don't want to get that short. Next time, I'm going to make sure that I have a line of credit, so I don't have to sacrifice either. These are the sort of things, and you can do that when you begin to watch people when they let you in, and you can see. This is the VIP section of the high value man room. Okay, you're in the high value section, but there's a VIP section where you got your Bill Gates and your Elon Musk over there. Okay, these are the people that buy the politicians. These are the people that finance campaigns. These are the people that that when they speak, everybody listens. This is what I want you guys to. You should shoot for this. These should be your ambitions. You don't want to just be a guy who makes $100,000 a year. That's pretty damn common these days, ain't it? Isn't it? 64% of Black men have reached the middle class. Of that, there's about 20% who are rich or upper middle class. So the VIP section is pretty damn filled with high value men. And so for you ladies who say you can't find a man, there's never going to be an abundance of high value men. There's never going to be a super abundance of rich guys around. Okay? So you get one when you can. Most of you ladies are average, and you're going to end up with an average guy anyway. I mean, don't get mad at that. You're average. Aim for your level. Worst thing you could do, ladies, is shoot past your level and end up with nobody, right? I mean, just think about it. So, but my whole point is, fellas, in that section of it's getting crowded in the high value man room, right? I think Mr. Kevin Samuels has dispelled the fact that, successful men are hard to come by. It's not that, they just don't want you. You see what I mean? Like, you can come by them, they just don't want you. They see the women they want, they go for those women. You don't necessarily qualify. It's not like there's one in a million. There are, well, it might actually be, but the bottom of my whole point is there's another section of high value, and that's what I want you guys to see. There's luxury cars, and then there's that phantom Rolls Royce, right? There's that BMW, and then there's that E-Class, and then there's that, and then there's that Bentley. You see that brand new Bentley for $250,000. That's the VIP section, right? There's that $500,000 house, and then there's that that $25 million castle somewhere in Europe or Scotland. There's the difference there. Just think about that, fellas. I want y'all to just process that. But in the meantime, hit the number one button. Let me show you. Make sure you show your appreciation for what I'm doing. That's the best thing you can do. And also check in, man. Let me see. Somebody said they sent me a. Let me see here. Let me check my. Somebody said they sent me a PayPal. I want to make sure if I was sending a PayPal, I want to acknowledge that. Thank you so much for the PayPal. John says he sent the PayPal. Let me take a look and see if I can get that. Everybody. Thomas, thank you so much, John. Shout out to my man Yoga Hizzle for Shizzle already. That's that old school rap funk talk, I mean. That's what that is, man. So, but anyway, you guys show your appreciation for what I'm doing here. And if you're enjoying this series about, influence and power and money and how to get it for yourself, make sure you hit the number one button. Okay, do that. And then, of course, you can always contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. That's another way to show your appreciation. All donations are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for that. But again, the inverse of imitating successful people is making sure that you don't surround yourself by unsuccessful people. Okay, here's a trick. Some of you guys your loyalty to your crew is what's keeping you down. Now, I'm not saying don't help your homeboy pay his light bill if he needs to, but when you hang around people who have a certain mentality, you're going to develop that mentality. You understand? I mean, that's my whole point. I'm still here. Can you guys hear me? My man said the truth hurts. 726 says I'm still here, man. I'm talking. I'm just pulling up some more stuff here. I want to make sure I'm getting everybody who sent to PayPal and the Cash App. I'm working on one screen right here. But either way, yeah, you got to really watch who you hang around. Because if you hang around people who have we'll call it I'm cool with being unsuccessful or I'm cool with being mediocre. If you hang around people like that, then you're going to end up like that. All right, I'm back, you guys. Big shout out to Anthony. Yeah, I'm having some issues with the Wi-Fi. Don't worry about the Wi-Fi, baby. But big shout out to Anthony Rice, man. He gave me $100, man. Shout out to him. Thank you so much, my man John Thomas. $5. Appreciate you. Make sure you show your appreciation. I know everybody doesn't have money to contribute. That's fine. But the least you could do is check in. Okay, do it for the algorithm. Make sure you share the screen, and everybody on the rebroadcast. I'm gonna do my best to try. But somebody said, Ian Simmons, would you consider coming out with a trial lawyer TV show if Steve Harvey of law practicing law? I really enjoy doing what I do, and honestly, that probably would be a pay cut for me to have a television show. I mean, I'm at the apex level of the practice of law now that I'm involved in class actions. So, I tell you guys this all the time. This kind of happened to me in 2017 because I played the game right. I kept my reputation good, and I let people know, hey, I'm available. I work with people. I work well with people. And lo and behold, a plant blew up in Texas, and a client gave me after that phone call, I called another guy that I had a good reputation and that I had worked with in the past. And, he called the client. Next thing you know, here I am, 4 class actions later, with anywhere from 500 million to, 150 to $500 million out there for me to go get. So I'm not saying no, I wouldn't do a TV lawyer show. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying at that point, at this point, it might be a pay cut. It's the same reason people ask me, would you ever consider going to be a judge or a politician? Federal judges only make $250,000 a year. I probably made that. What year? What is this? Well, I probably already made that this year. So it would be a pay cut. You guys are asking me to take a pay cut for reasons. Public, and there are plenty of people out there who are qualified to do that, but I'm just not interested in that. That's not something. Being a politician, being a teacher, being a law professor, those are just not things. Those are pay cuts. And what I want to do is, as the old OGs used to say, you got to get the money while the getting is good. You got to get while the getting is good. And so that's kind of where I am. So no, I don't have any aspirations of being in politics. I don't have any aspirations of teaching. The only TV show I want to do is right here on YouTube with you guys. Now I'll be here. You guys have seen me on Fox and some other channels like that, but for the most part, that would be a pay cut. I've worked really hard to get to the position that I'm in, where I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss. I get to, call my shots. I get to take a vacation when I want to. This is where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at in life. I'm happy, but I also want to share. You see, I want you guys to be successful too. So just keep that in mind. I want you guys to be successful. What was I saying earlier? Hanging around people who have a mindset that is negative. Hanging around people who think they deserve more. Hanging around people who feel entitled. Not people who are confident and know that they can go out and get it, but people who actually feel entitled to something they didn't earn. That's probably not a good person to hang around. As opposed to a producer. And so all that's going to do is have you disgruntled, right? And here's another thing. You don't want to, my man Yoga said ownership is over the top. That's correct. Hit the number 1 button, you guys. Show your appreciation. We got to get this as I'm popping. I'm here on the struggle stream. I got the beach behind me, but still hit the number 1 button for the algorithm. I know this is helpful to somebody. I know there's somebody out there who's asking themselves, you know, what more is there? You know, what can I do now? What more can I do? How can I be more successful? So show your appreciation by hit the number one button. Let me make sure we do that. Let's do it for the algorithm. Um, again, um, you want to be careful of people that you hang around because those people can either bring you up or bring you down. And when you are in a position to be around successful people, imitate them, right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of you guys are so caught up into color and racism and ethnicity. You know, oftentimes you won't take a lesson from somebody that you can learn from. There might be some rich Mexican dude who could teach you a lot. But because you don't understand or you don't speak Spanish, you don't understand the culture, you can't get the benefit of that. There might be a rich white guy. Yeah. As I was saying, there may be a rich white guy, rich Hispanic, Asian, black man. Because you got issues and hangups, you can't you can't learn from that person. You know, you can't figure out, well, what is he doing? Because you got your own hangups. You might be a Muslim, and there's this Jewish guy, and you can learn a lot from him, but you can't because you got differences in opinions. He might be a Christian, you might be something, you might be atheist. Who knows? Whatever. But the bottom line is you got to set that aside because success does not have a color. Success is a way of thinking, a way of seeing the world. Success is a perspective on life that you need to be able to inherit and dissect so that you can have success. You know, that's what I want you guys to understand. And because see, another thing is once you get the power and the influence and the money, and once you get in the VIP section, there's no guarantee you're going to stay there unless you examine people who've been there for a while. You can get in. There's plenty of people who got into the VIP section and then they got booted out. They didn't have what was necessary to sustain it. So that's another thing you got to understand. You got to be around people who've been there, who understand the game, who understand how it works. You know, I look forward to talking to these older lawyers that I get a chance to talk to every week. Every week I get to hear how they talk to each other. I hear the jokes, I hear the back and forth, the wit, their war stories. That when we're talking about cases, I'm presented with an opportunity to hear it. So I hear how they manage to get along, even when they have differences, because you're going to have differences with other people who are wealthy, and you're going to have differences between you're going to have differences that exist between you and other successful people. That's going to be there. Okay. The thing is, you got to learn how to sort those differences out. Otherwise, you get put out the VIP section, right? They don't want you working with them on this construction plan because you're hard to work with. There's plenty of guys who I've worked with in the past that I can't work with because they're impossible to work with. Somebody that's hard to work with. Doesn't matter how talented they are, how much they know. And if I'm going to work with them, it's going to be on a very limited basis, which means they lose out. So you don't want to be that guy or that woman that people find it difficult to work with because your difficulty to work with is outstripped by your talent. People would rather just not do the project if it means they have to work with you. You don't want to be that person. So you want to learn how to get along with other people, other successful people, by being around and imitating other successful people. You don't always have to be the big dog, even if you are. You don't always have to be the one telling everybody what to do, even if you know more. Learn how to suggest things and let it ride. Learn how to let other people's ideas circulate, because you may learn something. You may be wrong in all your knowledge. You may actually be wrong and you may learn something. There's a kid fresh out of law school who knows more about tech than you do, or read a case or did some research when he was a law clerk or she was a law clerk, and they know more, and you can learn from them. But part of that is being humble, and also part of that is learning to be a student and enjoy being a student. And that's a lifelong learner. And if you're so humble, if you're so ego driven that you no longer think you can learn from anybody, well, then hell, you might as well be dead, right? Because the minute you stop learning, you're just dead. You're dead where you are. The world is changing, you see? And so you want to be able to change and grow with it, okay? But again, the lesson that we're learning today, and let me go back to it, don't hate, imitate, right? Don't hate those who are more successful than you, imitate them. We have a problem in the United States with what? We have a problem with, we hate the rich, but we love a rags to rich story. So we're constantly trying to make us go from rags to riches, but we hate the rich. How does that even make sense? You don't hate yourself? Oh man, my man Braxton Spivey, never been part of a successful or cool group, so it's fine by me. Well, that may be fine by you now. But how are you going to feel at 50 years old or 40? When you have children and grandchildren, and your grandchildren are looking up to some other guy more than they're looking up to you. How are you going to feel when your wife is looking at what your neighbor or your neighbor's brother has achieved in life and comparing that with what you've achieved in life? Don't you at least want to give it a try, Braxton? Don't you at least want to try to max out, your potential in this world? When you meet your maker, don't you say, hey, look, I got, I gave it all I had. I left it all out on the field that you call life. And this is what I was able to succeed in that short 85, year, or 80 to 85 years of life that you gave. This is what I did. You see? This is what I want you to understand. So I don't want you to have any regrets, Braxton. And if you got somebody here teaching you how easy it is to be successful, and that's basically what? Imitate successful people. That's the lesson. Don't hate them, imitate them. Right? That's not difficult. That's not something that's too difficult for you to get. Imitate successful people. And that wouldn't it be better if we did that? And don't be ashamed of it. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. If you're a first year, a freshman running back, and there's a senior running back who's all state, go do what he does. Eat what he eats, lift weights the way he lifts weights. Do what he does, right? And if that doesn't work for you all the way, that's fine too. But you tried it that way, and then you can still innovate. At least you're learning his patterns. You're learning his work. So that's what I'm telling you guys. You see, imitate successful people. Don't hate on successful people. One thing we have bad in the Black community, we always hate on the successful among us, and that's why they don't want to come around. And then we call them sellouts. But have they really sold out? They just don't want to be bothered with us, because we hate them too hard, right? We're too jealous. You don't want to be around people who don't make you feel welcome. Welcome successful people amongst you, and stop and with your handouts. Stop with the asking for handouts. Instead, imitate them, and they will gladly bring you up. When you show successful people that you want to be successful, the vast majority of them will help you. Not by asking them, but by doing everything. They get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They read 3 books, you read 3 books. They read 10 books, you read 10 books. They take this course, that course, and that course, you take that course, that course. They read the Wall Street Journal, you read the Wall Street Journal. That's what I'm saying. Isn't that something simple? Why is it that somebody has to tell you that? Imitate successful people here on YouTube. Funny thing is, a lot of these YouTubers got a problem with some of the brothers who are wearing coat and ties. How would you want me to appear on? I wear a coat and tie for Zoom meetings. How would you want me to appear as an attorney? Right? Me, the lead attorney, Kevin Samuels, an image consultant. How would you want us to appear? With a poor image for Kevin? You want me to come in here sloppily? I got a couple of videos up here where I got dirty t-shirts on. That's not befitting me. But the bottom line is, if you see us being successful, what we're doing, don't fight with it, imitate it. And you'll see it works. Imitate success, and you more likely than not will develop the habits of success. Right? That's why they say what memorization is the cousin of learning. You may not know the alphabet, but if you memorize, that's the first step. That's why you have children memorize the alphabets, ABC, all that. And then at some point you begin to learn the alphabets and the sounds they make. You may not understand all the words you're using, but if you memorize those words and then you go look them up, you'll have a bigger vocabulary. If you yeah. So if you imitate the financial habit, if you imitate the financial habits of the successful, you will more likely than not develop those same that same skill set that got them there. Okay? This is all I'm saying, bro. Okay, this is what I want to show you appreciation by checking in. If you want to contribute, go ahead and contribute. I appreciate that. The PayPal, Cash App, all that's on the bottom. But that's it, man. You know, I'm keeping it light. You know, keeping it positive. I hope you guys appreciate what I'm doing here. I'm enjoying this, you know, power and influence, money and success. I want you guys to have. I want that to be for you guys. You know, I want y'all to do that, man. I'm giving this information to you freely. All I'm asking you guys to do is like, share, and subscribe. But either way, man, I love you guys. This is Uncle D, man. Make sure y'all share this. And big shout out to all my guys, members of Central Entities, Urban Eagle, everybody who came through Solo Dolo. My old crew is here, man. All my guys. Yeah, all my guys are here, man. Shout out to you guys. But either way, man, this is Uncle D. I love you guys as always, man. Be successful. Don't forget. Don't hate, imitate. Don't hate the successful. Imitate the successful. So you can be successful. And as I said earlier, there's a VIP room in the high value section. You want to be in the VIP section. You want to be the Bill Gateses. You want to be the Elon Musk. You want to be the Robert F. Smiths. You want to be those guys. Don't just get in the room, master the room. Anyway, this is Uncle D, and as I always say at this time, I'm out.